Well, Scott Lucas is a professor of international politics at Birmingham University and joins me live now. Scott, why now? Why do you think the UK government has taken this decision rather conveniently as the Home Secretary is visiting Washington?
You know, if I analyze this from a pragmatic point of view regarding foreign affairs, Israel-Palestine, and more broadly the Middle East, this makes no sense. Indeed, it's a counterproductive move, as your correspondent was just noting. What it does in the eyes of many Palestinians and many others is it handcuffs the UK to Israel's position. And there's no way you can have influence as a broker on Palestine, Israel, and the Middle East if you're effectively hanging onto the coattails of the Israeli government. But this wasn't done for reasons of foreign policy. This decision is primarily for UK domestic politics, issued by a Home Secretary, Priti Patel, who wants to be prime minister one day, who is very pro-Israeli, and supported by a Johnson government, which is in serious domestic trouble here over the consequences of Brexit and over the current hot headline issue, which is corruption and sleaze.
Interesting. So, I mean, Priti Patel was forced to resign in 2017 over secret meetings she held with Israeli officials. Do you think she's been on a mission ever since to push this through?
I think Priti Patel's on a mission for Priti Patel. Now, it so happens if she can see getting headlines off of declaring that Hamas is terrorists that will advance her cause, not only in her current position as Home Secretary, but to become Prime Minister, she'll seize those headlines. I don't think Priti Patel really has any type of tactical or strategic approach to Israel and Palestine, other than as her trip in 2017 showed. And remember, she was International Development Secretary. She has almost no links, no interest in Palestine, and her interests lie with personal connections with Israeli politicians.
Do you think this is a setback for any negotiated peace settlement between Israel and the Palestinians? I mean, not just this decision, but this kind of pro-Israel trend, this normalizing of ties between some Arab countries in the region. I mean, is it making it more difficult to see a solution to the Israel-Palestinian crisis?
I mean, the idea of a peace settlement between Israel and Palestine is in a deep coma. And it has been really since the last significant effort, which was in 2009, the Mitchell mission. The Israeli government under Benjamin Netanyahu and now under Naftali Bennett have no interest in talks on the basis of a Palestinian state, a viable Palestinian state. The most that they would probably consider is some type of token economic, as it were, links with Palestine at the same time that you ostracize Hamas and indeed the Palestinian Authority. So no, this has no effect on the Israel-Palestinian negotiations because there are none. What it does do is, of course, is it lines up the UK with the idea that there doesn't have to be negotiations, just as the United States, not just the Trump administration, but really the United States for more than a decade has really not positioned itself to pursue negotiations. And indeed, if you look at the hot button issues, it's not negotiations. It's the question as to whether Israel expands its hold across the West Bank through settlements and whether Israel continues its blockade on Gaza.
Yeah, that is all not good news for millions of Palestinians living there. Scott Lucas, thanks so much, Professor of International Politics. Good to hear your views.